Hello and welcome to another issue of the Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor Russ Stevens, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and he's JP's first son, Tim Hoey. Well, we have another great show for you tonight, boys, so let's get it started. We have to start with the Boston Red Sox. We thought this was going to be a dream season, and then it was a total collapse. To be honest with you, boys, Brian Sheeran, my lovely neighbor who's been on the show before, says it feels a little bit like 1978 as far as the collapse in this time of the season.
Earlier, but this is a little earlier than the 70s.
Right, well, the 78 was around mid-August.
Like the early 70s collapse.
But it was that. I mean, if we bring ourselves back into that time when there was the collapse, obviously the Sox then won 8 or 9 straight at the end of the season to get to the playoff game. It does kind of feel that way where you thought they were cruising, and then all of a sudden they can't play baseball.
You know what it feels like? It feels like my childhood Red Sox. This is what I grew up on. Get your hopes up and then crush you. This was our existence, right? Until we won the World Series, right?
Yeah, felt that way, right?
Yeah, I mean, the question is, were they ever as good as their record said they were? Right. In retrospect, you know, they were living off of a bullpen that bullpens just can't keep that pace up for an entire year.
No, they get weighed too heavy when your starters aren't getting past the 6th inning. And the fact is, I hate to quote the stat freaks, but when you're winning all these close games, and it's going to even out. Like we talk about the back of one's baseball card, it's going to even out by the end of the season. You're not going to keep on winning these close games, and all of a sudden they're losing.
But have you seen a move, the lack of a move, ever be so glaring as the lack of getting Rizzo? I mean, it's just glaring. He went to New York.
Are we buying that though? I don't know about that all of a sudden. You
seem to be.
Starting pitching that collapsed the worst.
But Rizzo went to New York and he was hitting home runs left and right. He seemed to be in the leading off ESPN every night with a big hit or something. And I don't know. It was almost like the match that lit the fire that doomed the collapse. I don't know. We gotta
work that way, does it, Russ?
Well,
I mean, it's an individual game. I mean, these guys are
to Joe's point, you know, they've got 2 crappy relievers. Had they got 2 good relievers, we might have won 3 out of the last 12 years.
No, yeah, and if that, to me, he's right too. If you had Anthony Rizzo, all of a sudden, 1 or 2 of those games, instead of Bobby Dahl back up, you have Anthony Rizzo, and that would affect it. So yes, we would be in better position there. But I just don't look at it as a huge excuse and say this is Chaim Bloom's fault.
Well, it kind of went with, well, I got one thought on that, but it kind of went along with the fact that Martinez, JD got cold. Xander's got some sort of wrist injury.
Yeah.
Verdugo has been kind of cold for a while. Unfortunately, all these things converge at the same time, and they lost some pretty rough games.
Yeah. And then Alex Cora, the scumbag, obviously has lost the clubhouse. It feels like the Boston Celtics this year with Brad Stevens, where they quit on the team.
Wait.
I don't know about that. I think
the clubhouse.
It was more they quit on Chaim Bloom, his boss.
Well, let's go to the top here. Was Chaim Bloom under orders not to spend any money?
I believe.
That's what I want to know.
I believe that the fact, I understand not giving up prospects for mediocre players. I'm down with that. And if that's Chaim's call, that's Chaim's call. What I'm not down with is what I heard about not wanting to go past the tax threshold. That's an ownership decision. And that's complete BS. The fact that they did not want to go over the tax is ridiculous.
Yeah, if you're charging the prices that you charge at Fenway for tickets and concessions and parking and every other freaking rape that they do over there to somebody's wallet to go to a Red Sox game, and they want to play like we're a small market team, shame on them.
Well, look, Joe, is John Henry, the Boston Red Sox to John Henry right now a line item?
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter if they win or lose, as far as money is concerned, because he's going to write it off like he writes off the Globe. A little prize for his wife to play with.
It's true.
A lot of interest he can adjust his taxes accordingly.
No,
But
because
I think where he lives in Brooklyn, he'd prefer a winner. He lives here. He'd prefer a winner here.
Yep. Is even in the
More than, say, Liverpool or in his racing cars. He would rather the winner here if he had his druthers.
I've been at 10 games this year and I haven't seen him once. I haven't seen him up in his box or, he sits right next to the dugout. So the guy's not anymore. He's the owner of the team and he's showing no interest.
I agree with that. And they got a lot of other things going on, but I just go back to the tax. They reset the reason why we traded Mookie Betts is because they wanted to reset the luxury.
Yeah,
right.
And
They already reset it. There's no argument for them not going into tax this year other than cash.
Right. So they won't be penalized in any draft picks or anything.
Penalized, or the penalties that they would pay are minimal.
Right.
And I couldn't believe what I heard. Like, if you want to tell me we didn't want to trade the prospects because we're trying to build up our farm system and we didn't really believe in the team this year, fine. That's a legitimate strategic decision.
I agree. Yeah.
But we didn't want to go into the first level of the tax after we reset it. There's no reason for that.
This is the boss.
You always reset it again a year from now, 2 years from now.
That's right.
Simple as that.
Look, it's the Boston Red Sox. And like Timmy said, you cannot plead poverty when you're the Boston Red Sox and you're taking in as much revenue as they are.
Yep.
And Nesson and the whole TV, all the advertising they get and all the cable fees they do very well for themselves over there.
Has this become a spreadsheet for John Henry?
I think it has been. I think it has become that. Obviously, I don't think he's engaged anymore. I think he has other interests. What I think is he became alienated because he started feeling heat. People started criticism of billionaires doesn't go well with those guys. Criticized.
They're used to it.
They just walk away from it. That's what they do.
He probably says, I gave this town 3 World Series. They hadn't had one in 74. They haven't had one in 78 years. What more do you want from me? I could see him looking in the mirror and saying that.
That's fine, and sell the team.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. You're right, Russell. You're right. Yeah.
Liverpool, you've got F1, you've got real estate.
Yeah.
You don't want to invest the time in it, then sell the friggin' team.
Sell it to somebody who has a passion for winning, who has deep pockets, who, like somebody who he kind of came here as that guy. You know what I mean? Yeah, right. I want to bring a championship. He doesn't seem to have that feeling for the team anymore, it appears.
And like what Russ said about the Stars right now, look, this team, when you looked at them before the season started, it had to be lean on guys like JD, Xander, Christian Vasquez, and guys like that just have not played well the last month.
Yep. We got a little smoke alarm.
Fire alarm going off there?
Yeah, smoke alarm. A little hot today. I know.
Hot takes from Russ, I think.
Is that for did my cigar light that off, Scotty?
It's going to do whatever it wants. Hopefully it's not too. Look, talk about Chaim Bloom's acquisitions, though. You have to give him credit for Kiki Hernandez, who, of course, I ripped into, Renfroe, Sarah Mora, who you could argue right now should be the closer. So these guys, he's done a fantastic job on helping the 25-man roster.
Sarah Mora doesn't do well under pressure. I don't think he would do well in a ninth inning at all. And he's had a lot of bum acquisitions like your friend Franchi.
Yeah, well, Frenchie was just one of 5 players.
Look, on the whole, you have to be pretty happy with what Chaim has done.
On the whole, I am. I just think he could have, like you were saying, he could have done better. He could have done a lot more at the trade deadline. When he saw that the competition was really going after things, he should have matched them.
He did.
He didn't compete. He wants the team to, but he's not going to. He can't be bothered.
Chaim Bloom's in love with his prospects.
Yeah, he's not. He just doesn't want to give them up.
Yeah. But we have to talk about the Kyle Schwarber deal. That's where it's all on Chaim. And again, I'm defending Chaim most of the time, but the whole idea of acquiring a guy for a pretty good prospect that wasn't going to be able to play for now. Looks like, I don't know, September was a misstep.
And they want to put him in a position he's never played to boot.
That's right, Joe. They're going to try to teach him how to play first base on the fly. And by the way, he has a bad hamstring and groin. So how many stretches is he going to be going?
Yeah, that's Christian Arroyo.
Exactly.
Christian Arroyo lasted like 1.5 innings at first base, and he ends up pulling his groin. That just, look, he needed to give the extra prospect for Anthony Rizzo. Yeah, that was it. Anthony Rizzo, I've never seen a greater fit for a team at a deadline in the history of sports than Rizzo going to the Red Sox.
They couldn't get it done.
So guys like Richards, Perez, and Marlon Gonzalez, they could very well be out of here in the next day or two.
Well, they're
already gone.
Yeah.
And I think, he didn't necessarily have to give up prospects. They might have wanted a major league level guy like a Perez or a Richards involved in the deal too.
Well, he gave up Chavez to get whatever this. He's got 2 relievers. For $1 billion, I couldn't tell you their names, and they haven't done anything. Look, it was one of these things where Heimblum, like we said last week, his expectations for this season were quite low, and he still wasn't buying into that this team was a legitimate contender.
Yeah, what was the scuttlebutt out there? He was upset they were doing so good because we would be having conversations exactly like we're having now.
He wanted a bridge year, and
he wanted a bridge year, exactly, Joe. And he didn't want this pressure at the trading deadline to upgrade and everything. He wanted to build from his plan, and he didn't want this aberration of going for a World Series this year.
But can I also just say it's not over yet. There's plenty of games left.
Oh yeah.
Sale, Tanner Houck. You will have Schwarber. JD Martinez will break out.
What is he going to add?
There's guys. These guys are good players, and they're not going to play this badly.
That's we need the voice of reason. Russ is
the voice of reason has become Mr.
We don't want to hear reason. We want to hear panic and chaos. That's what
I'm not happy, and if I wouldn't bet on them to make the playoffs. But there's plenty of time left. I mean, these are good players.
Look, if I told you when the season started that after 115 games we'd be 65-50, we would be leading in the wild card race.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh my God, here, take a pinky. That's unbelievable.
Right. I would have had them down in the cellar with Baltimore right now if you would ask. If I had to put money on it at the beginning of the year.
And if you do make the playoffs and you can send Sale, Rodriguez, and Evaldi out as your 3 starters.
Yeah, look, he's right.
It isn't a bad playoff.
If you can play the Yankees in a 1-game playoff at Fenway Park with Chris Sale pitching, that would be fun. That would probably be the most fun that you could ever expect in the year.
You're going to have Whitlock, you'll have Houck, so you just got to, they just need to right the ship. And that's why the losses like yesterday and the Barnes home runs in the last week kill you, because they'd still be in a bad stretch, but they would have won 3 more games.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. They'd have a 3-game winning streak if you won that just took care of business.
Yeah.
And they got to give Barnes rest. I always think about Joe. Barnes hasn't pitched well since he got paid, Joe.
Yeah, that's true. But, that's true of a lot of guys. Just go see Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, right, exactly. There were no sit-ups or push-ups Matt Barnes has done since he got that big new contract.
And speaking of Jason Tatum, are we going to talk about the gold medal in the Olympics at all for the basketball team?
We're segueing right to the Celtics, Timmy boy. All right, so of course Dennis Schroeder comes to the Celtics on a mid-level exception deal, $5.9 million. Let me just note that Schroeder turned down a 5-year, $84 million contract.
4 year 84.
4 years, 80. 4 years.
4 years, 84. To live out, he probably was living in Manhattan Beach. That's where all the Lakers live. To live in Manhattan Beach for the next 4 years at $21 million to play basketball. Oh, for God's sake. I'm not going to get over that. That's MC Hammer and Antoine Walker back.
Yeah,
that's 3 generations of your family money right there.
Yeah, that's got to be right up there with the top 5 mistake of all time.
It does, right?
What did the market
just the second offer, because then he outed LeBron about not getting the vaccination. And that's like a cardinal sin right there.
So I don't.
That's why they didn't give a second off.
Now explain this to me, guys. Why did that happen? Why did the market just collapse for? Why did that happen?
There weren't that many teams that needed, a point guard. And once the deck got shuffled, the teams that had cap space, they found other things. The Knicks got Kemba Walker for $8 million. The teams that needed point guards found them in other ways. And the guy who was left standing in the game of musical chairs was Schroeder.
But on the other side, boys, the Boston Celtics are getting a guy that the Los Angeles Lakers, a smart organization, was willing to pay $20 million a year. Yeah. So we're getting a hell of a deal. I remember Schroeder. He killed the Celtics when he played for Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean,
he's a limited player in some ways, not a great shooter, but he just gives you tremendous depth. And by the way, if Marcus Smart doesn't play ball with Ime and goes out and just keeps doing Marcus Smart stuff, Ime can turn around and say, Schroeder, you're the starter.
Yeah. But also there's a guy out there.
Russ would know this. Is Wagner still on the team? So we have 2 German guys?
No.
But then again, he's an offensive option that we put on the court at all times. When at times you look at it and go, okay, who's going to score right now that he's put out in the 5? He's an option that you have. Look, if you're not going to be able to double team him ever, so he's probably going to improve offensively because there's going to be a lot of open shots.
He's a poor shooter though, right?
He's not a great shooter. He's not a horrible shooter, but he's in the Marcus Smart. He's going to shoot between 33 and 38% at the height from 3. But that's not
a lot though.
But he gets
15 a game. Yeah.
He gets to the rim and he finishes at the rim in a way that Smart can. But he's not the defensive player Smart is.
He's got decent height. I like that.
6'3". Yeah. I
thought he was tall. He's tall.
He's a defensive liability, right? So you're gonna play him with either Richardson or Smart. Okay. And Peyton Pritchard will play with the other guy, Richardson or Smart, and you got a good partner.
Yeah. Okay, but we're saying, who's better right now at this current moment, Kemba Walker or Dennis Schroeder?
Probably Schroeder because he can play every night.
Right.
Well, the one night a week that Kemba would play, he'd have a good game every 2 weeks or something like that. You're going to get a lot more consistency in games out of this guy.
Right.
Yeah, Kemba, even the nights he played, wasn't consistent. So
Look, the Celtics, what's important right now concerning the 15-man roster and how they'll develop as a team is either Langford or Nesmith have to really take a couple of jumps. They're the missing piece. If you can get a wing that does and those are the 2 candidates. If they step up and all of a sudden they become a huge contributor, then all of a sudden you get something.
Well, the downside from Schroeder is of course, you start taking minutes from exactly what Scott just said, is you need Nesmith or Langford to develop, and you got to make sure Pritchard gets his minutes. But if those guys develop and Schroeder isn't needed, you can deal him at the deadline for maybe a first-round pick. They may have bought a first-round pick for $6 million.
Right, exactly. Right. Yeah, look,
speaking of Nesmith rather than Romeo. Romeo's what? Is this his 3rd or 4th year?
Langford would be his 4th year?
He'll be going into his 4th year.
Wow, he has done absolutely third. Because Tyler Hero, the same draft. 3rd year. Because I was going to say, he's done absolutely nothing for 2 years. And you think of the guy in front of him, Tyler Hero, and how he's contributed to the.
And he doesn't look great.
Now, speaking of Pritchard, do you think he'll have to fight for a roster spot next year?
No. Pritchard playing in the summer league. Apparently, did you watch the summer league?
He scored 25 points again the other night.
Yeah,
he's clearly class above these guys.
Yeah, he's a cut above everyone in that summer league right now. It's man against boys. He's got all the moves they don't.
Look, when we talk about how the team improved, the Celtics have definitely made a lot of changes. An improvement is the coach. Udoka is. I don't think anyone has any expectations that Udoka will lose his team like Brad Stevens did.
Yeah, that team cried for a new coach. It was just It was the right time, perfect time to make the coaching change for Brad to move upstairs because he had indeed lost some room, and now a fresh voice. You got to shake up Tatum and Brown. They had fallen. They had just become bored or something out there.
Well, that's a great question. Who does he, Adoka, have to make the greatest impact in? The two J's or the Enigma, Marcus Smart? Who does he have to?
It's the two J's. I mean,
You know,
Smart's on an expiring contract. They could deal him at the trade deadline. You've got Schroeder to back him up. You've got tremendous flexibility now.
you can sit him down if he starts to act up. Very simply, there's so many people playing that position right now on that squad. It's the Jays he's got to shake up. They were on a great uphill, trajectory as far as both their games. And then all of a sudden, about, a month into last season, they both stopped playing defense. They both kind of got lackadaisical. I don't know what happened. But a coaching change was really needed.
Well, nobody loves Marcus Smart more than Timmy. Timmy, they leaked that the Celtics offered a $17 million a year for 4 years. Marcus Smart. I don't know why they leaked it. I think it's kind of saying we know Marcus isn't going to take it, but hey, guys, we offered him a boatload of money. So when we send his ass out of here, you guys can't complain, Timmy.
I think I like what Marcus brought 2 years ago to the team. What he brought last year, it seemed to change a little bit. Like, I don't know. He's almost like a coach that the players tuned out. He's so emotional, and he comes into it's the kind of guy that would come into the locker room and tip a table over and stuff like that. I mean, how many tables can you tip over? How many guys can you scream at to perform?
No, I agree, yeah.
In hockey, you can go out and beat somebody up. That's kind of like how you do it, In basketball, you can't do that. My love, I still love him, but he's, would I be heartbroken if they moved him? Here's the thing for Marcus, too. There's only a few teams, I think, that would covet Marcus to get him. Somebody who's missing the intensity that he brings to it, and they think that he could add to it. A lot of teams, I don't think, would really be lined up to take Marcus. I think it's just 4 or 5 teams maybe that might have an interest in him.
And a title contender,
Marcus
too,
is the guy. I totally agree, Tim. Marcus is the kind of guy to bring in if you need, you think he can put you over the top. You need that toughness. You need that defense, Golden State or something. But look, what's beautiful is Marcus has, if they don't sign him to an extension before the year, which is 50-50, he's got 10 weeks to prove that he can play point guard at a high level.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, they'll trade him.
Yeah.
Period.
And that's when, and Doka's already talked about having Marcus Smart have the ball more. Yeah, in the first and second and third quarters, keep him on the freaking bench in the fourth quarter. For God's sakes, he thinks he's the number one star in the fourth quarter, and it's killing me. All right, go to the New England Patriots. Maybe you heard of them. First game is tomorrow night. And look, it's all wonderful and good. Who cares about the first exhibition game? Unless your quarterback for the next 15 years will be making his debut. Mac Daddy time starts tomorrow, boys.
I'm excited. I mean, anything but Cam. I would have taken Jimmy G. I would have taken anybody except Cam Newton. Well, also in Brian Hoyer. Being the quarterback of this team going forward. I mean, I'm excited. There's hope, There's hope. We have
Would
hope.
you say that this is the most exciting debut by a New England Patriot since Randy Moss? To see a guy in a Patriots uniform.
How about Drew Bledsoe?
No, I'm saying since. Well, Randy Moss obviously came.
I know Jimmy G. People were pretty excited around here about Jimmy G.
Yeah, there was a couple people.
Yeah, I guess no, we really know because Tom Brady was still there.
Scotty had to hose himself down for those.
Wait, Scotty has to adjust his pants right now. Hold on for a second.
No, but would you guys seriously? I mean, the excitement to see a player in a Patriots uniform.
We'll see how much. We'll see how much he plays. It's going to be really interesting to see how Belichick handles this tomorrow night.
Yeah, first round pick as quarterback. Everyone wants to see that.
Yeah, but also this. I mean, it's a huge controversy. You're either on the Cam side, you're on the Mac Daddy side, or you're on the Jimmy G side. And there, you can't pick. But I mean, because he's still part of this, guys. But
We're on the side of the player that gives us the best chance to win. That's who.
Do you think it matters? Do you think it matters these games as far as who is the quarterback against the Dolphins opening day?
Yeah, for sure. I actually think that Cam's going to play better than we think. And that's going to give Bill just enough, reason to start him for the first 4 to 6 games. And then
I don't know if I don't want to see it. I don't know if I want to see. I don't know if I want to see Mac go in and get killed in his first 2 games or his first 3 games. I don't know if I want to see that.
They've got a great offensive line. They're not going to get killed. And with the addition of
No, I don't mean killed. I mean get picked off 4 or 5 times, Joe. I mean more from that.
Well, we need someone other than N'Keal Harry. That situation has to change. I'm not buying all this Reese hype.
They are pumping him up, aren't they?
Pumping him like crazy, and the guy stinks still.
Remember, Mac Daddy has played last 2 seasons. He's played far more important games in his football career than any of the guys on the Patriots. The last 2 seasons.
I think he could start. I just don't think I don't think Belichick's going to do it. I just think that he's going to start Cam. He's going to give Cam a few games. The first month of the football season, as we know, is now just they're limbering up. Like they don't get enough time in camp to do anything.
And you know what I think we'll all have to remember? I went to a Patriots game against Peyton Manning in his rookie year, and I think Manning got picked off 6 times in one game. Mm-hmm. He's a rookie. He's a rookie. No matter how you slice it, he's a rookie. And we know what happens to most rookies in the NFL.
Okay, I asked Joe this question last week. What record, if Cam Newton is the starting quarterback, what record puts Cam Newton on the bench?
I think it's 2 and 3.
2 and 3. So game 6 would be a change in quarterback.
Yeah, and he'll come down with an injury.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
That'll be how it goes.
That shoulder, that chronic shoulder, will be a problem.
But we know that's easy, Timmy, because if you've been in the NFL for 5 seconds, you got something.
I'm sure he probably will have some type of real injury, anyways.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly.
My wonder is, he said he's sick of being a plow horse out there and running people over. I think he doesn't want to do that anymore. Running the ball every 4th play.
Because he's really, he's like the New Orleans Saints role, that Hill kid. That's kind of the role he'll settle into once Mac Daddy's the starting quarterback, right?
If healthy enough.
The world according to Scott, maybe.
And then if Cam gets hurt, Trey Lance is going to be the starting quarterback for the 49ers. Then Jimmy G comes and
right off into the sunset.
I would.
The day that Jimmy,
I would not know what to do myself. I'd just be running around the circles,
chasing your tail.
You guys are sick human beings. All right, Joe's former love and interest, Sony Michelle. He looks apparently good in camp. He catches balls that are thrown to him without anybody tackling him.
That's a first.
Yeah, right.
Let's see with pads on,
If you remember last season, they said Sony was exactly what they said about this exhibition season. That Sony was catching balls out of the backfield. I think he caught like 1 or 2 in the first quarter of the first game, and that was it for the season.
They never threw it to him again.
Yeah. So what are our expectations? Does Sony make the team?
Yeah, because what change of pace back, but it's always 22 or 21 personnel, and they know they're gonna run. When he has his personal fullback in there, they're running the ball.
I think we're gonna see a lot of Harris. We're gonna see a lot of Damian Harris this year. A lot of him.
Yeah, but he's a guy who's injury prone. Damian Harris hasn't proved in these 2 seasons that he's been in the NFL that he can stay on the field.
Belichick's going to play all these guys. Yeah. They're all going to play.
Yeah, Russ is right. Everyone's going to get a shot in the right circumstances, and even inside a game, they're going to change the personnel up as to what's going on the other side of the line.
Yep.
Well, Belichick doesn't talk much about players in general. Doesn't give them accolades this early on the season for sure. But he was talking up this kid McMillan big time, and all of a
Yeah,
sudden,
poor guy.
linebacker. I felt like it was kind of getting the Patriots Nation ready for Chase Winovich to be sent out the door. And I just want to tell you how this great young, and he's not even that young. I think it was 4th year in the league, this kid. But unfortunately, he blew out his ACL. So I think does this mean that Chase Winovich gets a reprieve and is on the 53-man roster? Because he felt like an odd man out, didn't he?
Joe knows this stuff better than I do, but it certainly seems like it.
Well, you know, they're going to keep him on again because they need the body. He's a good rotational guy. He's fine on third downs, rushing the passer. He does have a great motor. You can't stop him. You knock him down, he keeps coming. He keeps coming. He keeps coming. But he can't set the edge. And that's not all his fault. He is a little on the slight side. He isn't a big guy.
So we buying any of the N'Keal Harry hype?
Not me.
No.
I mean, I just don't think.
I don't know.
Buying hype I'm buying because I want to. I've liked that kid since he came here.
N'Keal Harry?
No,
No,
Myers.
No, I'm talking about N'Keal Harry. Yeah, but Myers has been excellent. I mean, he was excellent
I like
last
to
year.
see him succeed, you know. He seems to catch everything they throw at him.
I tell you, I'd be pleasantly surprised if N'Keal Harry showed something. I'm hoping that some of this is true.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's
we'd
true.
love
But
it if he did, but
I'm not buying any of it.
Is he on the 53?
No.
So Rusty thinks he's getting cut.
really,
a late pickup of a veteran, maybe.
He'll trade him for a 5th-round draft pick.
And I'll be very happy with the 5th round.
Oh, he'd be ecstatic. He'd escort out of town with a 5th-round draft pick. He's hoping for the 7th.
so are you telling me the Patriots have enough influence where they can get 5 of the major sports writers in this city to be pumping up N'Keal Harry just so they can trade him?
Oh, I also think that he.
They all pumped up Jarrett Stidham last year, didn't they?
Yeah, but
His request.
He also might be playing pretty well, but he's playing pretty well against the 2nd and 3rd string defensive backs for the Patriots.
when he knows he's not going to get hit
Right,
once he
they're
catches
gonna-
the ball.
I mean, they're going to be throwing footballs to him the next two, the first 2 exhibition games. You can bet your life on that.
Yeah, you're right there.
Well, I would say that he is a very young guy, obviously immature, and that they can develop. I mean, the guy, I think he's like 22 years old. So I'm going to hold out. Maybe Bill Belichick they had a conversation. Bill either said 2 things, said, play your ass off and we'll get you out of here, or play your ass off and you'll play. It was a simple conversation.
He had some. I don't know if it was a confidence builder. Did he take him aside and say, "We believe in you"? And I mean, it looks like something got through to him. It sounds like from the reports that I'm hearing and reading.
I think he just said, play your ass off and we'll,
Yeah, take care.
and everything will figure out. If you still want to be out of here, we'll find something, and you'll be able to go on a team and actually, make a living. Bill's not going to have a huge conversation with the 6th receiver in camp.
No.
I mean, he's not going to do that. All right, finish up with the Bruins. Bruce Cassidy, who I love as a coach, just love it. He's going to be a part of the Olympic team in 22. Does this kind of show you what the rest of the league thinks of this guy?
He's done a really good job over a long period of time, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, we have a keeper in this guy, and it's been disappointing in the last few years the way they've played in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But do we blame Cassidy at all? Because we're good at that.
No,
I think Cassidy. I think he gets the most. He keeps them all, nervous.
Jeez.
Keep a spot on the team. Yeah, like you better be playing, or I'll sit you, or send you down, whatever. I like that.
All right. So if the Bruins don't play well this year, who goes? Neely, Sweeney, or Cassidy? Neely goes.
Yeah, it's Neely. He's been getting a free lunch for a long time now.
Yeah,
Remember,
He was just a public relations appointee to begin with, anyways.
yeah. All right, boys. Well, that's our show for now. Rusty and I got to go to the Red Sox. We want to thank everyone behind the scenes. Of course, Corbin, we want to thank the fellas. Please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in again next Wednesday night at 6:30 for another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.